Today's talk is titled Sustainable Oil and Gas Reservoir Development, a Novel Approach. My email address is right there for future reference. The word sustainable implies that we have to maintain a certain rate or certain level. By definition, imposing rate has always been by the establishment, determined by the establishment. And the level always implied status quo. It's not sustainability as defined in modern era is not progressive. That's the point. Turns out both time frame and status quo are non-existent in nature, and as such is called aphenomenal. It doesn't exist. Today, all definitions of sustainability are aphenomenal. You can look them up, and we have extensive discussion on that in our work. And you will not find a single scientifically accurate definition. Scientifically, achieving sustainability means we would be able to sustain life for eternity, forever. That's really not in the agenda of the establishment in modern era. As early as 1996, they talked about colonizing Mars, as if we do not have enough colonization. And we have supporters of that. This agenda continues, and today the craziest idea, such as dimming the sun, is considered to be hot. We have been told that we have made progress continuously. That's not accurate at all. In reality, we have every civilization going up and down, fluctuating, but more importantly, in the modern era, the so-called plastic era, we have taken a dip. In old time, not a single technology was unsustainable. Today, not a single technology is sustainable. We define that as the HSSAN degradation. We had honey, replaced that with sugar, replaced sugar with saccharin, replaced saccharin with aspartame, replaced aspartame with nothing. During this process, tremendous amount of profit has been made. And literally we're looking at the information age, that has become very clear. We're looking at making extremely high level of profit at the expense of the society and the environment at large. You'd also hear the term paradigm shift. Every company is pushing something and saying that this is the paradigm shift, this is eco-friendly, this is organic. These are all buzzwords that have nothing, no merit to it. In reality, all practices in the even medieval age have been sustainable. Today, none of them is. And I'm not saying it, even Nobel laureate and other notables are saying it. What you have to identify is seek answers to what is true and what is natural frequency. And you cannot seek that answer from the establishment or scientists that are paid by the establishment. They have lied before and they will continue to lie. We are being told that vast fraction that has fueled the modern age that has to be replaced with whatever little amount of so-called nuclear, hydro, and renewable we have. And that is being forced upon us. That theme of targeting carbon as the enemy and replacing fossil fuel with scientifically more toxic alternatives is absurd. During Trump era, some of these absurdities were brought to light. During Trump era, he unleashed the fossil fuel industry. At the same time, the carbon dioxide emission continued to decline. During the same time, oil price was low. It even hit negative territory. So it creates the fallacy that you can have unlimited oil use, you can maintain low level of carbon dioxide. And how is that possible? Guess what? Carbon dioxide is useful for the environment. As a matter of fact, without carbon dioxide, there is no life, there is no photosynthesis. So a scientific approach has to address this rather than going with the propaganda that carbon is the enemy. We have to find a logical solution. That's really the theme of this talk. All the definitions of modern sustainability are for a limited time. They tell you that as long as you can have a building not collapsing, you're okay. What we are saying that the approach has to be valid for time infinity. And that's really the case. The first question you ask is, at no time, at any time will it collapse? And if the answer is yes, then that's not sustainable. It turns out the only way to achieve that sustainability is to introduce zero waste. Why is zero waste? Because in nature, there is no waste. There is no waste minimization in nature. It's simply everything that we produce has to be consumed by the environment. And if it is not, then you are not going to make it. Unfortunately, the profit margin always went up with unsustainable ones. And that's why we have tremendous difficulty introducing sustainable technologies. As a result, we have unparalleled disparity between rich and poor. Now, after fighting oil war, we're ready to fight water war, even sunlight war, even war on air. That has become quite evident during this COVID crisis. This is what we introduce. Rather than asking, is the technology economically successful? Will it make us profit? We first ask, is it sustainable? Meaning, is it applicable to infinite time period. If it is so, only then we advance. Only then we ask question of economic feasibility. As a matter of fact, economic feasibility comes even later than environment, society, all other aspects. What it does, this analysis turns the argument upside down and causes true paradigm shift. And that requires innovation at every level. You cannot rely on whatever has been done. I'll just add another gadget to it. You have to fundamentally come up with new solutions that nobody has used in the modern era. We introduced the so-called 5-0 model. We call that the Olympic model. Zero emission, zero waste in resources, including energy, materials, and human. Zero waste in activities, including administration. Zero use of toxics, including processing and production. Zero waste in products life cycle, including transportation and end of life analysis. Today, not a single stage of refining is sustainable. What you have is 90 million barrels of crude oil that produces tremendous amount of carbon dioxide that does not go back to the environment. Environment doesn't consume it. And that's enough to create global warming mess. It's not the carbon dioxide, it's the carbon dioxide that cannot go back to nature is the problem. For us to make it sustainable, we must employ refining technique that is in harmony with nature. At present, all of the chemicals used in refining are unsustainable. As such, we have carbon dioxide that comes out of this fuel is literally toxic to the environment. But that's not the agenda. If you look at the general scientific community, everybody is looking at the wrong places. So that goes for refining. And we identify how refining has taken a dip. So more so-called refined we use, more toxic it has become. And that, if you include that analysis in all other aspects, we have the so-called sustainable technology. And this is the theme that I discussed in my upcoming book on reservoir development. We identify a number of false premises introduced, and these are, some of them are economic, but economics being the driver, that's what makes the whole process untenable. Some of the aspects involve scaling criteria. The whole process of scaling has to be revamped. You have to know your characteristic length of your system. You have to identify the flow regime that your process is in. You have to know your system. Why am I saying all this? Because whatever we have been told is opposite to the truth in the past. So we have to really take a fresh look and change everything that we know. And this is the theme on enhanced oil recovery. Instead of using chemical approach, we introduce zero waste approach, and profitability actually goes up. In conclusion, total sustainability has eluded petroleum operators. It's because of their myopic view on profit maximization. True sustainability lies in identifying long-term impact. The new sustainability criterion causes a true paradigm shift. Zero waste approach is to be applied at every stage of the development, including refining, drilling, and production. Sustainable processes show very high global efficiency. By minimizing processing with artificial chemicals, great strides are made toward achieving both environmental and economic sustainability. With that, I would like to conclude this talk. Thank you.